What's up, Ted? How are you?
You set to go? Okay, I'm not. We're not starting just yet, everybody. Happy Pride! Keep the noise going! Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Judson Memorial Church. Happy Pride. It is so wonderful to see our cloud of witnesses in ripples out. So before we dive into this service, take a look around you at the queer saints who surround you. These are queer saints who only represent a small percentage of the queer saints who have gone before us, who have paved the way for all of us. But as many of you know, here at Judson, thanks to our very own Jason Sang, give them a round of applause. We add queer saints every month, and then you get a few more every year. So this is who we've got surrounding us today in our space. These are the folks who we will march with later today in the Queer Liberation March. And now, look around at the living beings who are in this space with you. Look at these future saints. You are the queer glitter that I wish to see in the world. And it is so amazing to be in this space with you. And I want to acknowledge that it's Pride Sunday, but it's also a heavy week. And I want to assure you that however you are entering this space today, however you're entering the virtual space out there, it is all welcome. The heaviness that you bring to this space is welcome. The fear that you bring to this space is welcome. The grief that you bring to this space is welcome. The joy that you bring is welcome. The hope that you bring is welcome. The humility and the pride that you bring is welcome. Reproductive justice is a queer justice issue. So, as we celebrate Pride, as we celebrate the progress and the work that we have done together and that we are enjoying the fruits of because of the people that you see surrounding us today, we recommit today to the intersectional justice work that we have to do together. We have to get queerer. We have to continue to queer ourselves until this entire weary world chooses that cue in our initialism and queers themselves into understanding the actual intersectionality of all of the justice issues that affect us and the hope for our collective liberation. So thank you so much for being a part of that work of queering the world into the actual collective liberation that we need to see. And hello, if we've never met, I'm Micah. They let me talk at length in the middle of the room here. I am so excited to go into this service, but I will reiterate, today we planned this service around queer sainthood. Again, thanks to Jason, and again, thanks to this project that started a few years ago. But today, what we wanted to do was not settle into one of those 20 to 30-minute sermons, because I know we're all both nervous about the world and eager to get marching. So we wanted to offer a little bit of space to some representatives of our congregation who will share stories of queer saints from their own lives. Several of them will be lesser known, some of them may be some famous people, but what we want is storytelling that then will ignite your queer imagination so that you can think of the queer saints in your own life who have helped you to become who you are and help you to continue to become who you can be. Now, the people who are surrounding us have died. But we want to think of queer sainthood, and we want to queer it, of course, and think of what it means to actually have living saints among us too. So I don't know all of the names that you're going to hear today from different folks and all of the different stories that you're going to hear, but some of them might already be living. Allow that. We are in a queer space, so there are no rules. If you do not remember the schedule of today, we're going to have our service. It'll end probably around noon. And then at noon, we will have vegan-friendly and gluten-free friendly food in the back here. We will eat from noon to 1. There's also nail polish in the back if you would like to polish your nails and get ready for either the march or wherever you are going later today. And there are also Be the Glitter You Wish to See in the World stickers in the back. You're welcome to take some of those, whether you're marching or not. But here's my invitation. Please march with us today if you're able. I just dropped a huge roll of paper on my foot, and I'm afraid that my big toe is broken, but I'm gonna march anyway. So lean into it. Please march. Here's a very practical thing. Look at how many queer saint icons we have. We've got to carry them. I need living saints among us to carry them in the march. So if you're on the fence, please know that we would really love for you to march with us. We will leave here at 1. We will go down to Foley Square on the train, and the step-off there, where we will step off with many of our interfaith partners, is at 2 p.m. Now, because we're in the round and we're not having more announcements today, does anyone have any questions about that? Challenges? Really? This is Judson. Come on. Okay, wonderful. So let's go ahead and start to breathe into this space that we are continuing to create together. I hope that you are taking dibs and bets on which one of these saints is going to make noise as it clatters to the ground during the service. It's all going to be part of our queer fun. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for breathing through all of this collective work that we have to do together. And here comes one of my favorite choirs in the world, singing one of my favorite songs in the world. Breathe into it. We might not be able to conjure the actual hope that we desperately need right now, but this song might help us to lean even more deeply into it. Welcome, Judson Choir. Exactly what I needed to hear today. Thank you so much, Judson Choir. Thank you, Hanku, looking fabulous as always. Would you all please, yeah, give him a round of applause. Look at that jacket. Would you all please rise in body and or spirit? And please join me in reciting our land acknowledgement and commitment to action. Judson's physical space stands on the ancestral land of the Munsee Lenape people. Our community acknowledges the Lenape community, their elders both past and present, as well as future generations, and we make this acknowledgement as only one part of our work to dismantle the ongoing legacies of Christian supremacy, settler colonialism, and white supremacy. We also commit to change. Everything you touch, you change. Everything you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. Therefore, if we refuse to change, we run the risk of being godless. But if we will commit to looking back at where we've been, looking honestly at who we are, and looking forward to who we can become, we might just touch God. We believe this truth, and belief initiates and guides action, or it does nothing. So, what does community look like in the face of this truth? What does commitment look like in the face of this truth? What does the future look like in the face of this truth? We not only acknowledge the past, but we commit to present action. Our futures await our willingness to change. And folks, I see some folks have joined us, and if you can't find a chair, we've got chairs against the wall. Feel free to just join the cloud of witnesses here in this space. And we're going to sing together, Quirky, Queer, and Wonderful. beautiful. Please be seated, you quirky, queer, and wonderful people. If you came in a little late, or if you just need the reminder, I know of the heaviness that we bring into this room today because of some decisions that were made by some hard-hearted people. So, I was going to read a prayer of queer thanksgiving this morning, which we've read in this space before and which acknowledge our saints here. But instead, I want to call us to queerness with a different prayer. So I invite you to join me in prayer in whatever way is comfortable for you. It's a safe space, so if you feel safe closing your eyes for just a few moments, it might help you to breathe into the space. This is a prayer for this prayer I can't seem to pray. I want a prayer that can carry it all. A prayer that can not only hold two things at once, but 2 billion things at once. But my prayers are tiny and too often tripped up by my tendency to only ask for what I already have. I want a heart that can hear it all. A heart that can not only keep me alive, but keep everyone alive. But my heart is weak, and it wearies far too easily when its beat gets beaten back by the rhythms of rage. I want a soul that can see it all, a soul that can not only heal my wounds, but heal the world's wounds. But my soul is selfish, and it slides too eagerly into solipsistic monologues that drown out my dialogic dreams. I want a body that can bear it all. A body that can not only enjoy autonomy, but offer that same agency to all. But my body is fragile, and it breaks at the slightest injury, leaving me to flail feebly and avoid the action that is actually mine to do. So, do you have a purer prayer, a heartier heart, a simpler soul, a better body that I can borrow? Oh, yours are just as raggedy? I want the intersections of our struggles to fuel the resurrections of our spirits, but the deceit of scarcity preys on us all. So will you pray with me? Our prayers, which aren't in reach, hallowed be your absence. Our humility come, our avoidance be done on earth, as that's all we can control right now. Give us this day more connections to creativity, and forgive us our inaction as we give ourselves over to the work once again. And lead us not into desperation, but deliver us to imagination. For we are the prayers, if we will allow ourselves to be prayed. Amen. And now it is my distinct honor to welcome to this music stand Jason Sang, the artist who brings the queer saints into our existence. Jason.
Good morning, Judson. My name is Jason. I use they, them pronouns. I don't know how I was selected to be the person that makes these icons, but I am so honored and blessed by the invitation to do so. I look around, for those of you who don't know, sorry about that, we started this project about 4 years ago in preparation for Pride. We were trying to hurriedly kind of get as many people, onto signs so we could carry them into church and into the streets. But since then, it's been a steady, regular, creation, a co-creation with this community about who we want to honor and who we want to remember and who we want to become. It is not always easy. It is especially difficult. Sometimes I feel like an undertaker when people pass that we beloved, and then I have to find it in myself to fashion a representation of them that we may honor. So it's particularly powerful or close to my heart because the version of Christianity that I grew up with in a Chinese evangelical community incorporates ancestral worship into just the way that we do things. And so I actually was wondering if I could invite you all to engage in this ritual practice that I grew up with, where we stand before representations of our ancestors and bow 3 times to honor them. So you can stand or assume any position that you would like. You may choose any saint that you would like to venerate, or you may bow towards the center, or you may bow towards the sky. And I'm going to say in Chinese, 一鞠躬, 二鞠躬, 三鞠躬, which basically means like first bow, second bow, third bow. And after each time I say that, we will bow towards the saints. So if you also, this is optional. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. Okay. 一鞠躬, 二鞠躬, 三鞠躬. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Jason. And now we're going to kick off some short shares of queer saints that aren't in this current cloud. And Gideon, you're up first.
Whew. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Gideon. My pronouns are they, he. And all right, let's do it. Let's kick it off. All right. Queer saints. To me, the saints that guide me are artists, the creators of our cultural touchstones and fragments that help co-create the deep feelings of community and connectivity that is life-giving in and of itself. Since we've allowed and created our world to be dictated by so many systems that don't protect those queer artists and that communal sense of gathering, it feels often that the secondary feeling that accompanies our queer saints is grief. Whether that grief be sudden, violent, simple, lonely, too much or too soon. My queer saint today is trans music producer and artist Sophie, who died in January 2021. My love for Sophie, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Woo! Okay, my queer saint. My love for Sophie and her music has grown, partly to the artistic happenstance that first brought us together, partly because of her coming out as trans and realizing an album that really puts trans and transcendence, titled Oil of Every Pearl's Insides, and partly because I have an incredible partner who can hear music production, beats and tones, and feverishly discuss avant-pop, bedroom pop, and hyperpop with me. Back in 2015, when I was working on my senior thesis performance at Bard, I stumbled into Sophie's world and music and felt it really deeply. I choreographed a collective movement section to her song, which was part of an overall piece that was about my own sense of my younger self, coming out as trans to my father, and moving away from the gendered expectations into the performance of the authentic. Its own paradox many of our queer saints dance so delicately. When Sophie, who had always performed surrounded in darkness and disguise, came out publicly as trans in 2017, I felt the burst of joy and recognition that I always do when someone comes out as trans. Ah yes, yourself. Hello, you. The loss of Sophie in 2021 used familiar words, sudden, tragic accident, but the words released were simple. True to her spirituality, she had climbed up to watch the full moon and accidentally slipped and fell. She fell and she died and she was gone. And people would say words like too soon and visionary. In death, there's a lot left to imagination for those of us here to live. I imagine the slip and the loss over and over, but sometimes you just want to enjoy the full moon, and sometimes you slip and you're somewhere new. Another transition for a beloved trans artist. A song of Sophie's was particularly consumed in the weeks and months following her death. It's okay to cry. To some, a prescient eulogy to herself, and to others, a simple reminder. In a time when we are desensitized to so much, the most radical gift you can give yourself is to feel it. Cry. From Sophie. An embrace of the essential idea of transness changes everything, because it means there's no longer an expectation based on the body you were born into or how your life should play out and how it should end. Traditional family models and structures of control disappear. And once more from Sophie through song. There's a world inside you. I want to know what it feels like. I want to go there with you, because we've all got a dark place. Maybe if we shine some light there, it won't be so hard. I want to know those parts of you. Thank you.
Dan, where are you? Beautiful. Come on up. Dan Shank.
Hello, I'm Dan Shank. I'm presently the chaplain at St. Mary's Center, a nursing home and day program in Harlem for people with HIV/AIDS. I'm one of the founders of Bailey House, and Meade Bailey was a close personal friend of mine. The summer between my junior and senior year of college, I wanted to be as far away from home as possible. My mother had died 1 year before, and my dad was getting remarried, and it was a lot to deal with. So I found myself doing student work study with a chaplain at a prison farm in Southampton County, Virginia, which is the county of Nat Turner's insurrection. There were security officers working at the prison farm who were descendants of some of the people that had been killed at that time. Very, very conservative place, to say the least. Paul Schwartz was the chaplain. His health was horrible. He was almost always running a high blood pressure. He was going blind. He wore these thick, thick glasses. He was very frail. But he was an amazing presence. Whenever he would come in to the prison, people would be greeting him everywhere, inmates, as he would make his way to the chapel. And he made the chapel into an island of freedom where the men could tell it just like it was. It was a prison for first felons, and so most of the men there were in their early 20s or even younger. And it was right over the time when conservative judges were freaking out over the increased use of marijuana in the Tidewater area in Southern Virginia. And there were young guys in that place who, there was one man, I kid you not, who was doing 30 years for possession of one joint. And it was a really tragic situation. But Paul Schwartz's area of the prison was an island of freedom, and I'll never forget it. In hindsight, I'm sure he was gay. At the time, I didn't really even have that word in my vocabulary, believe it or not. But one thing that stands out for me particularly about that summer, he included me in a counseling center with two of the men in the prison, and they were in love with each other. And he was completely affirmative, and again, this is 1969, to the point that he talked with them about the possibility of a marriage ceremony, 1969. I'll never forget. One last thing, he was a chain smoker. And with his health, that was a horrible thing. But he taught me how you can move closer to another person by lighting their cigarette. He taught me a lot of small, subtle things, ways of relating and interacting. Thank you, Paul Schwartz. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Gideon. I have queered the bulletin order, apparently, and I forgot that we were supposed to sing another song I'm that excited about today. So thank you, my apologies. Let's stand in body and or spirit and sing We Are a People Both, and then Rodney, you'll be next. Please be seated. And now I'd love to invite Rodney Brown up.
Queer, different, queer, different, queer, everybody's walking, down, queer, different, queer, Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's like queer, like different, like everyone, like you can stand on like 2 feet if you're gonna try, like when you stand on your hands, it's like a different like thing, and it's like in opposition, like to everything around you, like to all the whiteness, like to all the color, like to all the faces, like to everything, kind of like Rush, thank you, like Rush, thank you, like Rosto, Trost, Casta, Emosto, Constros, Death, Astro, Estugastros, Dead Night. Nah. I was thinking and dear God, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, just saying thank you, thank you, thank you, over and over, thank you again and again, for life, thank you, again and again, thank you, again and again, thank you, thank you, thank you, again and again, for getting me over one more hump, right? Again and again, how did I make it over? Again and again, thank you, just a little stupid. Este basturatas casta, e bosturas casterotas, e bastaras, e babacalastres. I think it's making, it's over, over again, you start up and then down, over and over, up and thank you, thank you, thank you, it's the process, just of difference, of where you go and what you do and how you'll be, and just you can, yeah, not that, now you can't see me, I go and I come, it's thank you, it's all of this being just at different, I'm this way, how my skin is risky, and these things are happening. To me, it's just out of breath, breathing. How can I breathe? I can't breathe. But then, I have breath. And then there's something, about that breath, too. And then I just, and who knows? And the next thing is you just go over and over and over again. And even, behind the piano, the music box, where you get, the music from, Ila Sabactini, Ila Sabactini, why? Why have you forsaken me? Again and again, it's another thing. I can't have babies. I don't get it. I just don't understand. It's just more and more. I'm just walking. I'm trying to pray. I'm trying to get it together. It's a labyrinth. I'm just how do you get over it? It's one thing and the next thing. It's another thing. And you just keep trying. It's over and over and over again. It's thank you, Dad. Thank you, Octavia. You just thank you. Just get over it. Just keep going. Again and again and again. And more. And then you can't breathe, and then you breathe. More. It's the same. I think it's a pattern. The same arm, the same gesture. Over and over and over again. You're exhausted even by the language. Even by the language. Even by the constant assault of the tape. It's just over and over. It's the typical scene. It's just again and again and again. I know, you're out of breath. It's more and more. I stand what is this, God? I don't understand. You just keep doing this stuff. It's my body. I just I don't feel it. I'm trying to rise up. Rise up, and then all of a sudden, something happens, and you just keep trying, and then something, and you don't know, and something clicks, and then all of a sudden, you're done. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Rodney. Thank you. Would you please rise in body and or spirit, and let's sing Love is the Touch. Please be seated. Sarah, please join us.
Hello. This is weird standing up here speaking instead of singing. Way out of my comfort zone, especially sharing something so personal and vulnerable in front of people who've known me since I was born in a lot of cases. But it feels wonderful to be up here on Pride Sunday as an out queer person. Thank you, Micah, for asking me. It's very meaningful. When asked to think about queer saints and who has helped me become who I am, there was one clear standout, but I have to admit this person is still alive and actually younger than I am, so I'm breaking the saint rules here. I'm queering the assignment a bit. But I had to because there's one person who influenced me the most in this way, who took me from knowing something deep down to actually embracing it, celebrating it, and feeling comfortable being my whole self and sharing it publicly. That person is writer, actor, director, producer Dan Levy. Honestly, I'm a little embarrassed it took a TV show to allow me to feel comfortable being myself, embracing my queerness, and being out about it. It's not that it was entirely news to me, but I didn't fully accept myself or feel validated as a bisexual or pansexual person until I saw representation on screen a few years ago when I started watching Schitt's Creek. Even being surrounded by queerness growing up here at Judson and elsewhere, and frankly always feeling most at home in queer spaces with my queer friends, I didn't see a lot of bi representation at all. It can be very invisible. People tend to make assumptions about your sexuality once you're in a relationship with someone. Something about watching the show with its famous line, "I'm into the wine, not the label," and multiple characters who are attracted to more than one gender, in addition to a gay character that has a beautiful later in life coming out story, made me see myself and realize that I didn't want my sexual orientation to be invisible anymore, didn't want to safely hide in what people expect or assume about me. Dan Levy is gay himself, but made a point to create a main character that is pansexual, since he saw the lack of visibility in media. Bless him for that. Not to mention that he crafted and acted one of the most gorgeous, honest, heartwarming love stories ever to be on screen. I've talked to many other fans of the show and read quite a bit about it and listened to interviews. I'm a little obsessed. And its impact has been enormous. Yes, they won a whole ton of Emmys for it, but most importantly, countless people have said it changed their lives, whether because it allowed them the language to come out to their family, or it helped them see and understand their queer child or family member, or opened up something in themselves that they had kept hidden, or just gave them comfort and support. Visibility is important, and that's another reason why I've also wanted to be a bit louder about it in recent years, so others can feel valid too and see and embrace their whole selves fearlessly. There is a B in LGBTQIA+, and there are lots of us. So Dan Levy is undoubtedly the living queer saint that I needed most when he showed up with his beautiful and also hilarious writing and big heart, and I'm very pleased to honor him today and the inspiration he's been to me and so many other queer people. Happy Pride!
Thank you so much, Sarah. Keenan, come on up here.
Hello, everyone. I know for me personally, something that was hugely important in me understanding and coming to love my own queer identity has been music. And so I just wanted to take a second to talk about a queer artist who I feel is one of, I don't know, whose music I think I've really been able to find a home in over the years. His name's Arthur Russell. To give a little background of the many things he's done in his life, he was born among the cornfields of Iowa in 1951, and when he was 18, he moved to San Francisco to live in a Buddhist commune and study Indian classical music. There he met Allen Ginsberg, who he briefly dated, and started playing cello to underscore Allen's poetry readings. In 1973, he moved to New York to study electronic music at Columbia University, but after clashing with professors, he eventually dropped out and was offered a job to take over as the music director of a place that probably a lot of us have been to, The Kitchen. And in the 1 year that he was there, he expanded from just the minimalism and contemporary experimental music that was happening, and programmed the Modern Lovers and a new band called the Talking Heads. Biographer Tim Lawrence muses, the decision to program the Modern Lovers and the Talking Heads was Russell's way of demonstrating that minimalism could be found outside of compositional music, as well as his belief that pop music could be arty, energetic, and fun at the same time. He was an artist that could mine the interest and beauty out of whatever captured his interest that day. Churning out music in his apartment on East 12th Street, he went through a rock phase, a disco phase, a country singer-songwriter phase. He was hired and then fired to write incidental music for a Robert Wilson play, and that's just a few things. Around 1986, he was diagnosed with AIDS and died of complications from it in 1992. His constant exploration led to a real struggle to finish music, and he only released 3 solo recordings in the time that he was alive, but left behind over 1,000 tapes that are still being released by his longtime partner Tom Lee to this day. The artists that have inspired me most in my life are the ones who really know how to experiment with something, to turn it around on its head, inside out. In a way, what's mere queer than that? The ability to step in a space or a form that's been defined for you and tear the walls down. Some have thought that Russell had insecurities about himself and about his sexuality, but when I enter his music, I know that I can find myself in just a queer utopia full of freedom and hope. One of my favorite lyrics is, "It's moving me up. It's moving me up. Every step is moving me up. Moving me up. Every step is moving me up. This is how we walk on the moon."
Hello, Judson. So before I do the offering, Micah asked me to maybe lend a name or two of one or two. So what came to my mind was a woman named Pat Parker. Now, Pat comes out of the West Coast, and Pat was an author. Right now, she died in 1989 from breast cancer, and her poetry is in Harvard, Schlesinger Library at Harvard. I need to calm down. When I get nervous, I start stuttering again. So, I picked Pat because when I was growing up, as I mentioned last, I didn't really know how to express me. And I liked I read Frost, and I read Chaucer, and I read, what's his name? Some of Dickens. I read Poe. I really actually liked Poe. I think Poe was a little dark, but I liked him. I know it speaks something about me. I'm so sorry. And I did Audrey and a bunch of others, but Pat spoke to me because Pat, I thought, was real. I mean, Pat would say things like, jealousy, I got an issue with people that don't value their treasures. And I said, now see, that speaks to me. Because it's a little tangible, it said the way I felt, and she was married twice, and then she came out and she stayed in the Bay Area and did a lot of work. Yet she has a couple of books. One of them is called Movement in Black that I read all the time. And when I was growing up, that's all I had was reading to help me express how I felt about me and how I felt about wanting to be with same-gender loving, if you will, and a family that could barely spell those words. I mean, they could spell it, but they definitely didn't want to talk about it. So Pat Parker is who I would like to raise up today as an ancestor that helped a lot of people like me back in the 70s understand that it was all right to be who we are. So I lift her up, Pat Parker. And now at this time, of course I come up here with that and I don't have my bulletin. But now is time for another part of our service where all of us can take part. And that is the part of our service that deals with the offering. And I'm sure those that are on Zoom, hi y'all, hi Reverend Julie, how everyone, how y'all doing? You'll see, I'm sure y'all have it out there where you can go. Some of you that have our bulletins, you can see that there are several ways that you can give. I need to see who's coming up to sing. Thank you. Oh, okay. Right, so helping us, yeah, so we have offering, Judson 44321. You can go to the website, judson.org/give, and then you can do Venmo at Judson-Memorial Church. And to help us along will be our own Ruby Rims singing I Am What I Am from La Cage aux Folles. All right, y'all give it up.
Hanko asked me if I was going to talk, and I said no. Surprise. I look around this room, and I got to know some of these people, especially my girlfriend over there, Marsha. And there's a few who aren't here. But they live inside of me. And the gentleman who wrote this song, I got to meet very briefly. And he told me I did the best Carol Channing anybody could ever do. So Jerry Herman, thank you. I am what I am. I am my own special creation. So, come take a look. Give me the hook or the ovation. Don't let me stop you. It's my world that I want to have a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not worth a damn till you can say, hey world, I am what I am. I am what I am. I don't want praise, I don't want pity. I bang my own drum. Some think it's nice, I think it's pretty. And so what if I love my sparkle and my spangle? Why not try to see things from a different angle? Your life is a sham till you can say, hey world, I am what I am. I am what I am, and what I am needs no excuses. I deal my own deck, sometimes the ace, sometimes the deuces. There's one life, and there's no return and no deposit. One life, so it's time to
I mean, how do you follow the patron saint of fabulosity, Ruby Rims? Would you please rise in body and or spirit as we prepare to take this service into our service in the rest of the world? Think back through all of the stories that have filled this space today. Think of what's been shared out loud. Think of what's been sung. Think of what's been played from a tape recorder. Think of what's been stated on the floor. Think of what we did at the beginning as we bowed to saints here. Think of what you're holding quietly in your heart. Those saints who have gotten you to this place. Be who you are and become who you need to be. And you will be one of the saints marching in. Let's sing. Amen.
At this time, we say goodbye to our Zoom folks under the leadership and management with Reverend Julie and the others. Say bye to our Zoom folks for their part of celebrations and concerns. Thank you all, and we will now have ours here. So if you have any celebrations and concerns, we ask that you come somewhere around here and we come up one at